Hello, everyone. I hope all of you have had a good dinner. So, can I see a show of hands? How many of you were here yesterday? How many of you were here yesterday? And this is your second session that you are attending? Because I need to know who is already familiar. Okay, not many. I think we're waiting for more students to come in. So if you have not scanned through today's materials, I suggest you do that, okay? Or at least read the notes. So what are we going to do today? We will do a full paper between around 8:05 till 9 o'clock. And then before then, we will look at the tips to handle note-taking better. We also have a third session that's coming up next week. That one will be 2 hours because the Sec 4s are going to do their O levels, and we also expect more questions that they will ask. And also we want to do more warm-ups for that session, the third and last session. So have all of you read the notes? Let's start. Okay. So today we are doing session 2. So make sure you have this set. Yesterday you had Red Riding Hood greeting you and Big Bad Wolf. Today, traffic announcement. It is very important to have good note-taking skills. Whether or not you write down content, the important thing is always to ask yourself, have you grasped what someone has said? Okay, whether it's a conversation, whether you're in a humanities lessons, geography, history, or literature, are you always taking down notes? Even during English lessons, are you jotting down important pointers for PEL and ideas for your composition? So all these has to do with your current habits of how you actually sieve out important things from your daily lesson, okay? Because many students tend to be very, very selective with how they listen, okay? So if they're in an English lesson, they'll cut out listening to things related to mathematics. Then when they are doing maths, they'll think, oh, it doesn't matter how or what my mathematics teacher is telling me. You have to stop that, okay? At least from now till your listening compre exam. So let's look at today's thing. You have a picture here of traffic congestion. You have a picture of traffic congestion. And what happens is this. When you listen, sometimes you don't realize how the way things are said will affect you. Okay? So, for instance, this is real. I've sat in a car many times when my dad used to drive. When my dad used to drive, and then we used to listen to the radio broadcast, and they will say things like, the right lane to drive is the left. I mean, if you're stuck in a jam and you hear literally the right lane to drive, you would be tending towards steering your wheel towards the right. You see, right. And then you hear another signal. The right lane to drive is the left. So then you think about it. Here, the DJ, whoever is doing the traffic news, actually means the correct lane to drive is the left. So those of you who are very attuned to listening, you won't fall for this kind of misleading cues, right? It's not misleading, but right and left, right has got two meanings, left is rather clear. So let's do some reminders. Pre-listening analysis. Scan. Pre-listening analysis. I went through this yesterday. You really need to scan your exam papers, especially when they ask you to flip over and for you to check that you have all printed pages, okay, from number 1 all the way to 20-something. So as you scan, the important thing is this. MCQs, it will be played twice. Yesterday, some of you had you felt a little bit terrible because you didn't catch all the blanks for note-taking. So you cannot say, I'm just going to see what happens later. I'm going to try to listen out. You can't do that. So as you scan, because you can flip to the end page already, you will see prompts like, you will hear two adults, you will hear a speech about this or that. So identify the central topic. Your brain should start churning out relevant vocabulary, even the main branches and sub-branches, because you have two sections that require you to note take. Okay, and today we do some maths. 10 marks for the one with the PEL columns, 8 marks for pure note-taking. All of you know this. This is 18 marks out of 30. Can you afford to leave blanks? The answer is no. You cannot afford to leave blanks. Okay, all of you have gone through your exams by now, at least some of it. You know that the 6 MCQs are not easy either. The 6 speakers, you wouldn't say it is extremely easy. In fact, sometimes the 6 speakers can be harder than the MCQs. So there you have it, 12 out of 30 plus 18 out of 30. Are you going to IDK all the way and say, I couldn't catch it and I give up? So to prevent that from happening, you need to scan the central topic. So this is what happens in your head actually. You see the topic. It's a famous place. Alarm bell should ring. Or the advantages and disadvantages of studying overseas. So you're thinking the PL, advantages, disadvantages, studying overseas, variety of subjects, the kind of exposure you get, the downsides and blah, blah, blah. Okay, then as for the main note-taking itself, again, if you see, you will hear a zoologist share about a rare animal. Then, can all of you put in the chat, if you hear something like animal, what are the things you think are the vocabulary needed? Remember yesterday I said, all of you have got experience doing closed passages when you were in primary 6. What were all the passages about? Can all of you put in the chat? Okay, let's see what you have on the chat. Many of you are very, very shy. Someone asked, Vian asked, just a question. Have you summarized to only listen to keywords and stress words in the last lesson? I don't quite get your question. What do you mean? Have you summarized to only listen to keywords and stress words in the last lesson? What do you mean? Okay, you cannot selectively only hear some things. So what I'm telling you is this. You need to start activating the schemas in your head. So for example, if the closed passage, whether it's a closed passage or listening passage, if it's about the animal, you're going to read about the diet, whether they are extinct, their habitats, their behavior, or temperament. Those of you who have been with us in Sec 4, you would have done the passage on dugongs and manatees, right? As well as tortoises and turtles. Are there related species that we need to look out for? Who are the natural predators? And are they famous? Are they being hunted for their hide or leather? So definitely you will expect something like that. I've been looking at some of your prelim. I've been looking at some of your prelim papers. Some of you had pigs, for example, for note-taking, isn't it? What they eat, how they grow up to be, their physical characteristics, all these are to be expected. So you cannot say the note-taking section was shocking. Actually, it's not shocking at all. If you had looked at the cues, you would be able to predict the content flow. I am very sure of that. Next, look for visual cues. Bulleted points, subheadings, arrows or numbering, and one more, the images, if they have provided you, images provided. Like yesterday, there was this thing about the Cultural Music Festival, and there was a clue, NYC, for example. And if you look at the second blank, the venue was New York. Okay, next, if you have an image of a building or an animal, what can you use it to help you fill in? Definitely, it will help you look at, for example, characteristics, especially physical characteristics of a building. How tall, how short? Is it a skyscraper? Is the animal chunky in size with flipper-like legs? So on and so forth. Okay, so next one, identify question types. Do you need single words? Do you need numbers, dates, and percentages? Or do you need names of people, places, and organization? And here yesterday, Mavis and I stressed again and again, punctuation, proper noun. So if you're attending this for the first time, make sure names of countries, organizations, they are capitalized. Okay, like this. Skyscrapers, organizations, countries, people from countries, all of them should be in capital letters. Next, what about numbers and dates? Dates, the best way to do, for example, yesterday, the upcoming concert for the International Cultural Concert will be on 27 September 2025. Okay, spell everything out. Next. So we're going to nag a little bit. You have done many comprehension C. Do all of you know what comprehension C passages are? How have they been organized? You have an intro always that gives you the context. Then you have body paragraphs. You also have the other perspectives. How do you know there are other perspectives? Because you will see words like on the other hand. That's it. You don't need to copy all of these actually, because you're so familiar with the way essays are written. That's it. Or still. Okay, then you have conclusion. Comments about the future. So Sec 4s especially, you have done all kinds of passages from Christopher Columbus to conspiracy theories. All the passages follow your essay structure. Do you understand what I'm driving at? You're actually revising everything that you have learned from primary school till now, actually. Regardless of the passage you get, there is a certain schema to it. So if you are listening to, for example, you will hear a passage about how to cook a famous dish from Russia, for example, the pavlova. Then you will need to think, to activate your understanding of how things are sequenced. First, you need to do that. After that, you need to do that. Before, after, then when you see the pot simmering, the gravy simmering, you turn off the flame. Following that, this and that. Okay, so for example, recipes, processes, if you listen, you will hear sequence. Next, sometimes you will hear reasons or content, things that are very content rich. Like, for example, something that is topical. Like, for example, you will hear a passage about jazz music, or you will hear a passage about modern art, or about a type of genre of writing. Then you have 3 types of poems, for example, 3 types of music. First category, second category, the last category. Next, problem solution pattern, very typical of COEC, your comprehension. And also when you listen to an accident, a disaster, earthquakes, tsunamis, and all that, you have a cause-effect problem solution pattern. Okay? So, whatever it is, all of you have been taught all these ways to organize the way you write. So therefore, when you're doing listening comprehension, you're at the receiving end. Instead of reading a passage, you are hearing it for the first time. But still, because you've done so many comprehension passages, so many closed passages, as well as narrative stories, you know there is a pattern to recount, or there is a pattern to sharing facts. Okay, so I forgot sequential patterns. Some of your note-taking can be recounts. What do you mean by recount? You will hear a passage of a blogger's journey, or you will hear a passage about a traveler's experience in South America, or on a volunteer trip. So you will hear something like, before I went on the trip, I felt this way and that way. During the trip, I got to learn this and that. That's it. There were difficult moments. So you have to hear the sequential patterns. Next, what about strategic listening techniques? So now we're getting to nearly the group of things. Topic introduction, elaboration, examples, transition, emphasis. This is very important when you're doing the 6 speakers as well. The key point here, sometimes you need to listen out for words like these. Okay, you need to listen out for words like this. Hear words like most, the imperative here. What's imperative? Imperative means the most important point here. You will hear words like, these are critical ways to solve a certain problem. Okay? Example, signal words, all of you know. Next, this is the scariest one. The speakers often repeat important information in different words, like this. You may not hear the same thing all the time, but you understand they all mean important. Some key details are frequently restated for clarity. For example, the benefits. You might not hear benefits. You might hear words like enable, advantages, beneficial, can help to alleviate, for example, what it can help. Okay, then on the other hand, if it's the downsides, you will hear things like disadvantages, that's it is harmful, one should not do this or that. Okay, so listen out for example, this method greatly facilitated the growth, the rise in a certain kind of business. Versus on your paper, you might have to fill in the blank. People were able to do blank better. Greatly facilitated means you're able to do something better. So once you hear this, it means you need to look at this blank. Okay, please don't do some assumptions. Let me ask all of you, are things in the recording in the same order as on the worksheet? Anyone can respond to this. Are the things in the recordings in the same order as on the exam script? Anyone can address this. Is it always in? No, not always. Correct. So you cannot say, you cannot sit there and then say, okay, I'm just going to stare at the ceiling because I don't seem to see all the blanks in order. Okay, so let me show you what you need to do, huh? A lot of word form awareness. Common transformations you will hear versus what fits the blank, okay? For example, you may hear a verb form. The organization, say United Nations, succeeded in achieving blah, 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 blah. But on your worksheet, it could be main achievements of the United Nations. Bullet 1, blank, second blank. So you're going to say, I didn't hear the word succeeded. So IDK, 2 blanks, cannot. Succeeded means they achieved something. There was an accomplishment. So I would like today, all of you, to actually write down some of these words, accomplishments. Words like fulfilled. Okay, next, adjective heard versus what is on the paper. So those of you who have been with us, Sec 1 to Sec 4, sometimes you will hear things like Spanish, the Spanish arrived in South America. So on the worksheet, you will see people from, now you have to change Spanish to people from Spain. Okay, next. Therefore, the French army attacked this country or that. On your worksheet, you might see soldiers from, you cannot put French. You have to change it to France. Okay, or to survive the wild, people need to be adventurous, need to be very agile. Key characteristics required, agility or being agile. Okay, I teach you a trick here. What happens if you cannot change agile to agility? Then you put being very agile. And if you have been following lessons, being adroit, being very deft, not deft, deft. Okay, that means being very nimble. All these are possibly accepted. So don't panic when you don't hear the exact words or the blanks are slightly different. You fit it in grammatically and all will be good. All right? Now, the scariest one, things like that. It really calls upon all the vocabulary you know. You might hear a long phrase, people who live in cities or urban folks. And then on the worksheet, people from blank areas. So you might get something like people from Can? Next, synonyms. Just now, I have given you example. Sometimes, if you find that you can fit another word in because you cannot spell, then you use a simpler word so long as you do not distort the meaning and the synonyms fit exactly in. Okay, like just now, I went through key, critical, this and that. And why am I spending so much time on this? Because when you do your PEEL, the column ones, they always have something. For example, are you going to say IDK? Because after that, if you see lines like is it advantages of taking part in charity events? Benefits of taking part in charity events? Things one can gain? Okay, then it doesn't fit in already, right? So there you have it. You would probably go for benefits, advantages, the gains from, okay, so not the gains. Benefits and advantages should fit in here. Likewise, the downsides, the disadvantages, the pitfalls. Okay, so all of you are waiting to do the warm-up. Let's start. Before we listen to the recording, if you have taken in what I have next so far, let's look at this passage that you are going to hear. Okay, so you need to predict the kind of words you need. Can I have all of you scan through? All of you scan through. You need to have very fast and quick memory. Yeah. So basically, for example, if you were just to look this, like I said, if it's an accident or disaster, there will be the context. What caused it to happen? What about this bridge? Is there something wrong with its design? Because not everything is made to, when mankind built bridges, we don't want them to collapse, isn't it? So if it does collapse, is it a man-caused, a man-made accident, terrorist, or is it something to do with nature? Or there is a design flaw. So there you have it, the context. So what you need to do, can all of you, can I give you 5 minutes? What you do is, you might want to take a pencil. At the side, I want you to think, what kind of words fit in? So can we do this? Some of you, if you have done that already, you can go straight to the last section as well to annotate for part 4. This is an interesting place. The bridge is also an interesting place. It's just that something bad happened. So what's the difference between a disaster piece and a piece solely on a place? Actually, it's very similar. All right, 3 minutes, annotate for all the note-taking bits. Second page, this is to benefit those who have not printed out. You see, blanks like number 4 and number 2. You see here, winds. What kind of winds? What are the words to describe winds? Can you have words like pretty, ugly, hideous, disgusting winds? Cannot, right? Winds are either very strong or they are very gentle. And then words that describe structure. Either a structure is very firm or is very wobbly or flexible. Next, I'm sure all of you know how to fill in this. What will you hear? Is it miles per hour or kilometers per hour? Learn to spell kilometers properly. Kilometers. I don't think you are likely to write anything in cm or in mm. Okay, particularly when you do mountains and roads and all that, we're not talking about small measurements or inches already. It would be kilometers or miles per hour. Okay, then next, do you know anything about bridges? What cracked? What cracked? Cables are mentioned. What else gave way? Next, the collapse. What bridge design forever? And what are engineers now testing again and again? What are they testing in wind tunnels? And next, what kind of framework are now modern bridges built using? Next, new designs allow wind to pass through rather than to catch what? Okay, So let's try the warm-up.
You will hear a researcher describe an accident. As you listen, complete the notes. You do not need to write in full sentences. You will hear the extract only once.
On November 7, 1940, the world witnessed one of engineering's most dramatic failures when the Tacoma Narrows Bridge in Washington state spectacularly collapsed just 4 months after opening. As someone who studied structural failures for decades, I find this case particularly fascinating. The bridge, nicknamed Galloping Gertie for its noticeable movement even in mild winds, stretched elegantly across Puget Sound, connecting the Olympic Peninsula to the mainland. Its design represented modern minimalism in bridge architecture, slender, lightweight, and aesthetically pleasing. What engineers failed to anticipate was how this design would interact with the area's consistent winds. The bridge's solid sides essentially created a wing-like structure that caught air, while its extreme flexibility allowed it to respond dramatically to these forces. The phenomenon, called aeroelastic flutter, had been observed in aircraft wings but wasn't well understood in bridge design. On that fateful morning, the bridge began oscillating in 42 miles per hour winds, not particularly strong by local standards. But think again, the movement developed a resonant pattern that amplified with each cycle. The twisting became so violent that the concrete cracked and the support cables snapped. Seriously, it was a miracle that no humans perished in this disaster. The collapse of the bridge I'd just told you about revolutionized bridge design forever. Engineers now rigorously test scale models in wind tunnels, incorporate structural dampening systems, and design with aerodynamics in mind. Modern bridges feature open trusses, structural frameworks composed of interconnected elements arranged in triangular configurations. These trusses would then allow wind to pass through rather than catch solid surfaces.
Okay, let me give you 1 minute to fill in all the blanks. Was this easier than yesterday's? Can you put in the chat? Was it easier than yesterday's? Okay, very good. We didn't make this too difficult. Most of the phrases match what is on the worksheet, isn't it? Okay, did you catch most of them? Now you realize when we did working, a lot of things fell into place, right? How many months just after opening in Washington state, nicknamed Galloping Gertie for its what? And I think even in mild winds. So not so strong winds, I suppose, if you don't know how to spell mild, or softer winds, or gentler winds, that would be okay. So let's have a look at the answers. Let's have a look at the answers. And I want you to total the score, okay? I want you to total the score so that you can track whether you have improved or not. Now, be very strict with yourselves. I didn't set anything that required capital letters. 4 months, noticeable movements. Now, I suppose it would be okay if you wrote obvious movements, mild, not so strong, minimalism, slender, consistent, wing-like. Now, again, yesterday somebody asked, is the hyphen important? Yes. Well, some examiners might let you off so long as you can spell wing or like. Remember, 42 miles is a very small number, a very simple number to spell it correctly. Okay, just in case, 4, 14, 40. Get all of these numbers correct. Next, concrete, 23. this incident, the actual word you heard was revolutionized. Then you can use transformed, totally changed. All these words are okay. Next one, this is an architectural feature. When you go to showrooms at HDB, they always have scale models to show you the new housing estates in Singapore, such as like the ones coming up in Tengah or the ones near Tanjong Ru. They're scale models. So they build, they make things out of cardboard and paper to make it look like actual buildings. So in this case, they really tested things against or using scale models. Next, triangular configurations and solid surface. Many of you, am I right? Some of you started to get a little bit lost here. So what I'll do, I'll play the last part so that you can see for yourself the blanks were actually not difficult at all. It is whether you had the stamina to listen through and just to commit yourself to an answer. We listen to the last portion.
Snapped. Seriously, it was a miracle that no humans perished in this disaster. The collapse of the bridge I'd just told you about revolutionized bridge design forever. Engineers now rigorously test scale models in wind tunnels, incorporate structural dampening systems, and design with aerodynamics in mind. Modern bridges feature open trusses, structural frameworks composed of interconnected elements arranged in triangular configurations. These trusses would then allow wind to pass through rather than catch solid surfaces.
Did you hear all of them? Okay, so how about this? To make sure you really catch something solid out of this whole exercise, how about we do the note-taking first out of the entire paper? Okay, we do the tiring things first. Let's do part 4 first. You will hear a tour guide provide details of an interesting place. Okay, 3 minutes, annotate. All done? Look at construction features. Construction always, do you know what buildings are made of? Plaster, sand, concrete. We're talking about ancient structures. So you obviously have materials that are very, very basic. Look at all these. There are clues already. Walls measure nearly 1 meter in thickness. For what purpose? Wooden beams serving as permanent what? For maintenance. Some of you will panic. What are minarets? Never mind, you don't know what minarets are. 3 distinctive what minarets. You just need to capture the word before this difficult word. So you have to retain memory that you need to have something to describe minarets. And no excuses, actually. What are minarets? Things that are 18 meters tall. Okay, very tall and slim structures. Next, cultural significance. Listen out for all these things. If you hear things like, this place is very important in the country's cultural development, what does it stand for? The city's what as center of Islamic learning? Architectural elements. It continues. Now, I want to give you some hints. If this place continues to be important, you will hear words like now, even now, perhaps. Or in modern times, or presently, look out for all these signal words. okay, as an active place of worship for local community, holding up to how many people at any time, and showing perfect blend of local and Islamic architectural principles. What about historical resilience? What's the meaning of historical resilience? That means it has stood the test of time. It has stood the test of time. It has survived centuries of winds, environmental challenges. The previous passage, you also have learned quite a lot of words related to winds, the damage they can do. It endured occasional rains. What's the opposite of rainy periods? Can all of you not guess? What's opposite? I think both extremes are very bad, isn't it? Too much rain or no rain. I think all these will cause structural damage. And next, maintain structural integrity. That means it's not collapsing yet for nearly 7 centuries. So you may not hear 700 years, you may hear centuries. And lastly, just now I said, there is a reason why they gave you an image. Now, for the O levels, you have the image in monochrome. Okay, O levels and school papers. Images, they are in monochrome, black, white. But today you have an advantage. You are seeing it. So which question do you think this can help you answer? Look at the color of the building. Look at the color of the building. Is it not going to help you here? Okay, are we all ready? By the show of typing the numbers, how many marks do you get for the previous one out of 8? Can you put in the chat? I want to see. Question 8. What do you get? 5, 7 or 8. Cannot be 7 out of 8, 7. Only 3 people sharing. 4 out of 8. Oh dear. Okay, let's do better this time, okay? Don't get tricked, yeah? I am going to do recording number 6.
You will hear a tour guide provide details of an interesting place. As you listen, complete the notes. You do not need to write in full sentences. You will hear the extract only once.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mahmoud Toure, and I've been a cultural guide here in Timbuktu for over 2 decades. Today, I'll be showing you one of our city's most extraordinary landmarks. Before we begin, let me help you place where we are. We're in Mali's northern region, about 20 kilometers north of the Niger River. Timbuktu sits at the edge of the Sahara Desert, a position that made it a crucial crossroads for trade caravans centuries ago. The Jingariba Mosque, which we're about to explore, covers roughly the same area as Singapore's Newton Hawker Centre, though its architectural style couldn't be more different. Let me share with you the fascinating story of this remarkable monument. Built in 1327, this architectural marvel stands as a testament to both the ingenuity of West African builders and the city's golden age as a center of Islamic learning. The mosque was constructed entirely from earth, using the distinctive Sudano-Sahelian architectural style. Its walls are made from sun-baked mud bricks called banko, held together with mud mortar and covered with mud plaster. What's particularly clever about its design is how the building stays remarkably cool despite the scorching Saharan heat. The walls are nearly a meter thick, and wooden beams stick out from the facade. These aren't just decorative, but serve as permanent scaffolding for annual maintenance. Walking around the mosque, you'll notice its most striking feature: 3 minarets, pyramidal in shape, with distinctive protruding wooden support beams. The largest minaret rises to about 18 meters, rather modest compared to other famous mosques, but perfectly suited to its surroundings. Local legend tells us that the chief architect was from Granada, bringing Andalusian influences to this Malian masterpiece. The mosque has survived centuries of Saharan winds, occasional rains, and even periods of political unrest. It's still a living, breathing place of worship, accommodating up to 2,000 worshippers. While tourists can't enter during prayer times, you can explore the outer courtyard and marvel at how this earthen structure has endured for nearly 700 years. What makes it particularly special is how it represents the perfect marriage of local building techniques with Islamic architectural principles, creating something uniquely African.
Okay, a minute for you to fill in all the answers on your paper or on A4. Is this better than the previous? So there was not much skipping, but at the end you realize cultural significance and historical resilience. The sequence was a little swapped towards the end. You heard about centuries, what it endured, occasional rains and periods of, I believe it was political unrest. And today this structure is still very useful because it can host how many people? Did you catch that? Let me replay the last part for you, okay? Second chance, okay? You won't get this for the O-levels, but because this is a practice, I'll play it again. Take a green pen, and now you figure out where you have left out and to listen for the answers again. And like just now, I'm going to annotate giving you the beginning of the words, okay? So let's hear it from the middle portion onwards.
Is how the building stays remarkably cool despite the scorching Saharan heat. The walls are nearly a meter thick, and wooden beams stick out from the facade. These aren't just decorative, but serve as permanent scaffolding for annual maintenance. Walking around the mosque, you'll notice its most striking feature: 3 minarets, pyramidal in shape, with distinctive protruding wooden support beams. The largest minaret rises to about 18 meters, rather modest compared to other famous mosques, but perfectly suited to its surroundings. Local legend tells us that the chief architect was from Granada, bringing Andalusian influences to this Malian masterpiece. The mosque has survived centuries of Saharan winds, occasional rains, and even periods of political unrest. It's still a living, breathing place of worship, accommodating up to 2,000 worshippers. While tourists can't enter during prayer times, you can explore the outer courtyard and marvel at how this earthen structure has endured for nearly 700 years. What makes it particularly special is how it represents the perfect marriage of local building techniques with Islamic architectural principles, creating something uniquely African.
Okay, so let's look at the answers. Where did you get 23 part 5 from? This is very, very difficult. This would be the hardest of all. You need to hear that this is how the building stays remarkably cool despite the scorching Saharan heat. And how they aren't decorative, but serve as permanent scaffolding for annual maintenance. You might have written 2,000. Yes.
Hi, Mr. Shum. Yeah, hi, everybody. Yeah, there
Hello,
are two
welcome,
students.
teacher Mavis.
There are two students asking, can instead of temperature control, can they put cooling or cooling purposes? For
Can.
cooling is not complete, but for cooling purposes,
Or
that's
to,
grammatically. Let me see.
I think for
What
cooling
does it say?
purpose,
Let me see what it says in the
it
text.
depends on the examiner. I think I'll be quite glad to see this answer. It's not easy to even get to this answer. To
Let me see.
temperature
Transfer.
cooling purposes. I think can. We'll accept it. Yeah.
Cooling
So you see,
purposes.
some of the students will say, "Oh, this sounds like maths," or "This sounds like science." The thing is, your entire science and maths textbooks, they are written in English. So you cannot say, "I never knew I had to spell polygons, pyramids, cylinders." You jolly well make sure you can spell everything you have learned, so long as you have a formula or formulae for it. Right? Mavis, remember when we did the listening comprehension, even for the primary school kids, they were saying, "Hey, this is like a history passage, or this is like a science passage." You have to spell words. Things like kilometers. Just now, before you came in, I told them that they have to spell kilometers properly. Northeast, southwest, plaster or Paris, plaster cast. Some of your friends get injured and then they have their feet in a plaster cast. So what we did just now was 2 note taking. So I decided to match it against the notes that we went through and the warm-up. Okay, how did everyone do? Can you put in the chat now that I've got Mavis for company? We can have all of you respond. Then what happens next? What happens next? Still, if you find that you are still not faring very, very well, let's have you do the column flowchart. Okay, because I want to re-emphasize this point. As we did yesterday, this is your PEEL passage. Yeah, you're not testing for the L. I mean, the P and the L is the same. Okay, qualifications and the what of the work. Now, how many of you can already guess this? We've done this several times throughout the course of your time at MS. Qualifications always go with job specifications or details about the work you do. How to become a nurse. Then what are the things you need to do? Main idea, learning opportunities and developing skills. Then there you have, this is positive, right? There's always a positive. If there's a positive, there has to be a negative column. Emotional challenges, balance against what? What is balance? There's something that is very, very difficult about volunteering at the animal shelter. If you balance it, the negative must be balanced against the positive aspects of it. Have I accidentally given you an answer? Perhaps. Okay, so don't panic. Like I said, all these are very, very easy blanks. You must be how many years or older? What kind of courses must you complete? It is more like a spelling test here because likely the courses will include words that are to do with subjects to be taken at the polytechnic or at the university. And what is the job nature? We need to endure Singapore's blank weather. Can all of you tell me, can you do this or not? Don't tell me, IDK, I don't know our weather. Our weather is very cold. Wintry weather, is it? Are all of you going to tell me? I don't know. Is it wintry weather? Do we have wintry weather? Yeah, maybe 20 days out of 365 days, we get a 22 degrees Celsius weather, isn't it? Then next, learn about animal behavior and what care basics. So later on, again, just now I gave you hints already. Synonyms. These are comprehension skills. Sometimes they ask you, how did someone behave? Your answer must say the person behaved in a what manner or way. Or in short, you need an ly word. Which word do you need here? Learn about animal behavior and what care basics. understand proper documentation, and what? So again, this sounds like a scary blank, but all you need to do is to hear this word. What is proper documentation? Proper documentation means you keep proper records. So you may hear the word records. You need to keep records of something, what, and do what. Okay, then the rest, we didn't test you. You work along staff members. You also ensure that animals are being treated very well. Okay, next. All these are very, very good to score. Why? You have your 1, 2, 3. Witnessing cases, seeing, observing, coming across, encountering cases of abuse, abandonment, and what? What do you need to handle? New shelter animals, newly arrived animals. Happy moments when fearful dogs learn to, there's a clue, I think you can guess. Some dogs are traumatized, beaten up, abused by previous owners. So what do they learn to do again? And all these, I think you can also fit an answer in, right? When you go to a new school, next year you will again, Polytechnic, to the JCs, or some of you other institutes overseas or local. What do you have to do when you go to a new place? Okay, so here we will try playing this only once to see whether you can capture all the answers.
You will hear a volunteer share his experience at an animal shelter. As you listen, take note of the main ideas and details. Complete the graphic organizer below. You will hear the recording twice. Example: an animal shelter is a facility that provides temporary housing, care, and rehabilitation for abandoned or rescued animals.
Having volunteered at a local animal shelter in Singapore for the past year, I can attest that the experience requires both emotional resilience and physical stamina. Most shelters require volunteers to be at least 18 years old, undergo basic training in animal handling, and commit to regular shifts. Prior experience with animals is beneficial but not mandatory, as the shelter provides comprehensive guidance on safety protocols and animal care procedures. The role demands patience and adaptability, as each day brings unique challenges. One moment you might be cleaning kennels and refreshing water bowls, the next socializing with traumatized animals or assisting with medical treatments. Physical tasks include lifting heavy bags of food, scrubbing enclosures, and sometimes restraining larger dogs during health checks. The Singapore climate makes outdoor work particularly demanding, with high humidity. Through this experience, I've learnt invaluable lessons about animal behavior, veterinary care basics, and the importance of community support in animal welfare. Working alongside dedicated staff has shown me how proper documentation and systematic processes ensure the well-being of dozens of animals simultaneously. However, the emotional toll can be significant. Witnessing cases of abuse, abandonment, and euthanasia tests one's mental fortitude. The limited resources and constant influx of new animals can feel overwhelming. Yet these challenges are balanced by profound moments of joy. Seeing a formerly fearful dog learn to trust again, or receiving updates from adopters about their pets, adapting well to their new homes.
Second hearing.
Nice. Example: an animal shelter is a facility that provides temporary housing, care, and rehabilitation for abandoned or rescued animals.
Having volunteered at a local animal shelter in Singapore for the past year, I can attest that the experience requires both emotional resilience and physical stamina. Most shelters require volunteers to be at least 18 years old, undergo basic training in animal handling, and commit to regular shifts. prior experience with animals is beneficial but not mandatory, as the shelter provides comprehensive guidance on safety protocols and animal care procedures. The role demands patience and adaptability, as each day brings unique challenges. One moment you might be cleaning kennels and refreshing water bowls, the next socializing with traumatized animals or assisting with medical treatments. Physical tasks include lifting heavy bags of food, scrubbing enclosures, and sometimes restraining larger dogs during health checks. The Singapore climate makes outdoor work particularly demanding, with high humidity. Through this experience, I've learnt invaluable lessons about animal behavior, veterinary care basics, and the importance of community support in animal welfare. Working alongside dedicated staff has shown me how proper documentation and systematic processes ensure the well-being of dozens of animals simultaneously. However, the emotional toll can be significant. Witnessing cases of abuse, abandonment, and euthanasia tests one's mental fortitude. The limited resources and constant influx of new animals can feel overwhelming. Yet these challenges are balanced by profound moments of joy. Seeing a formerly fearful dog learn to trust again, or receiving updates from adopters about their pets, adapting well to their new homes.
All of you caught it? Let's look at the answers. Again, we didn't test you for capitalization of letters, but there are some words that are very difficult to spell, a euthanasia. So how do we fit this in, for example? What happens if you cannot spell a euthanasia? Witnessing cases of abuse, abandonment, and Teacher Mavis, what would you fill in if you cannot spell a euthanasia? What do you actually witness when you witness a euthanasia?
Killing.
It would be animals being put down,
Put down.
put to sleep, right?
To sleep, or some people call it mercy killing.
Yes, put to
Yeah.
sleep or mercy killing, correct.
But they do learn this, right? By the
All
time
of
they're
you
in,
do?
by
Pardon?
the time they're in secondary 4, I think euthanasia is one of those topics that they might have discussed in school, maybe. Euthanasia for essay writing.
Okay, mercy killing. Are all of you writing this down? Because inadvertently, when you talk about helping out animal shelter, it will definitely involve witnessing animals that have no choice but be put down. Maybe they have a disease or they're so severely injured, the vet does not want to prolong its suffering. Okay, the last two were very easy. This one, influx. I think if you just have influx is also okay. What does influx mean? You can say non-stop receiving of animals, non-stop arrival of animals. That's also correct. As long as you have this whole idea of the numbers keep coming in, it is okay. Okay? Now, veterinary, all these again are things you need to learn how to spell. 18, humid. Just now, you heard what was heard was humidity.
Adapting.
Okay,
Someone is
humidity.
asking for the last question, instead of adapt, can they put adapting? Let me see. Happy moments when fearful dogs learn to trust again and adapting well. Doesn't when we do listening, right? That's why it's a skill that you build over time. Okay, it's not easy. It's a skill built over time. So besides having the accurate word, we must make sure that that whole phrase is grammatical. It makes grammatical sense. Okay, so to trust, like Mr. Shum is writing, to trust, to adapt. If you put are adapting, is it? Happy moments when fearful dogs learn to trust again and are adapting well in their new homes. Where fearful dogs are adapting well, so you're taking it as a separate. I think are adapting is
Unless it's
definitely
written as and that they are adapting well.
If you dots and are
Okay, lah.
adapting.
I think I'm
Are adapting is
going to
not that
say
grammatically wrong, but adapt is not
it's
right.
not
Adapt.
that wrong, but ideally
Mm.
you really have to
Trust and
make
adapt.
sure the answers are consistent because
Yeah.
these are things we have done time and
Parallel,
time again when we do editing.
parallel
Okay,
structure.
so
Okay.
anyone needs a toilet break? How are all of you feeling? Can you put an emoji in the chat to tell us how you're feeling? Because this is the sixth note taking we have done. No, not six, five. Today we did two. Today we did two plus
Oh,
warm up.
I see.
Okay,
Okay, okay. Yes, yes, yes. That was a warm up.
I'm still crying and skulls, is it? Still crying and skulls, is it?
It's not an easy skill. It's difficult even for adult learners, okay? That's why but when it's a skill, when something is a skill, it's something you can build, okay? So
Yeah.
it's not like intuitive or anything.
The
So over
important thing
time,
is not to beat yourself up if you miss out some. I mean, to get full mark is almost very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. So you really need to have the stamina. And you see, note taking is right at the end. You have listened to many extracts already. There's 6 total extracts. You cannot afford to say, okay, I'm going to just relax for a while. No time to relax. All right. So we have 20 minutes left nearly. Let's plow through part 1 and 2. Okay, so 4 more extracts left.
okay.
6 MCQ questions and the 6 speakers.
Yeah, let's aim for full
Oh,
marks, okay? Let's aim
yes,
for
aim
full
for full marks. So let's not nag Mavis. Let them do their own working. Later on, we will pull out the poll. So don't worry about not having paper, okay? You just need to click on your computer where you think is the correct answer. Text 1, text 2, text 3, and the 6 speakers. Can we have all of you, while you're sipping water or running off and back, going to and from back from the toilet, read before you guess the answer? Oh, Miyuki asks, can revolutionized be spelled with a Z? You are asking examiners who are marking a Cambridge exam. Okay, so while everyone is annotating, what do you think my answer is going to be? All of you know you are taking a Cambridge exam, right? Oops.
So we are doing a Cambridge paper, and the paper is set using British words with British spelling, right? So we try to keep our answers consistent to that. And anyway, in Singapore, we have been brought up when you do spelling and all that in school. Of course, if you put Z, everyone can read and understand what you're talking about. But and this is not an exam, right? This is a practice. So before you take the exam one day, just get used to being consistent, okay, in the way you spell these words with the Z, the S, or the C, etc. Okay.
Yes. Be consistent because you have 10 years of learning English nearly. We have never, encouraged you to spell with a Z-E, Z-E. So don't start something that you know is going against the grain of a British examination, right? Because if they should scan the paper or the examiners are to mark it, obviously they are going to expect people to be writing UK grammar and UK spelling. All right, so let's start. Text 1. I'll play it 2 times and then we poll for the answer.
You will hear 2 classmates speculating about who their form teacher will be the following year.
Did you notice something odd this morning during assembly?
Yes, I noticed she was standing with all the secondary 3-form teachers, even though she's our secondary 2-form teacher.
During class today, she joked about how she might end up having to monitor us for another 2 years.
That's interesting. But Ms. Lee always cares about us. She takes pains to chat with each of us and give us extra lessons to catch up.
No. She actually asked us about our subject combinations. I also overheard her telling our geography teacher that she's looking forward to next year's challenges with the same folks.
That does sound promising.
And just before dismissal, she was making notes about the way our class works and muttered something about planning for the coming year.
Now, I'm thrilled to think that she could be our form teacher again. Anyway, Ms. Lee is always so tricky with how she phrases things, and so it's hard to tell if she is joking or not. This is only September.
Regardless, Miss Lee teaches mathematics with such clarity and makes learning fun for us. Our class intends to nominate her for the National Teaching Awards. Odd this morning during assembly?
Yes, I noticed she was standing with all the secondary 3-form teachers, even though she's our secondary 2-form teacher.
During class today, she joked about how she might end up having to monitor us for another 2 years.
That's interesting. But Ms. Lee always cares about us. She takes pains to chat with each of us and give us extra lessons to catch up.
No. She actually asked us about our subject combinations. I also overheard her telling our geography teacher that she's looking forward to next year's challenges with the same folks.
That does sound promising.
And just before dismissal, she was making notes about the way our class works and muttered something about planning for the coming year.
Now, I'm thrilled to think that she could be our form teacher again. Anyway, Ms. Lee is always so tricky with how she phrases things, and so it's hard to tell if she is joking or not. This is only September.
Regardless, Miss Lee teaches mathematics with such clarity and makes learning fun for us. Our class intends to nominate her for the National Teaching Awards.
Xue Yi, can you
So
pull
what-
out the poll?
Yeah, let's have them fill it. Put in your answers, okay? Put in your answers. Question 1. Why did one of the speakers think that Miss Lee might be their form teacher next year? Oh, so mixed, the answer.
Oh no,
So mixed.
this
It's a
is very
distractor.
interesting. They went for the option with difficult words, is it? I know that's what some students do. They will go for an option with a difficult word because they think that's likely to be the answer.
Okay, let me see. Some of you haven't, about 10 of you have not given us your answers. Where are the 10 of you? Where are the 10 of
Just
you?
put in
Haven't
an answer.
Okay.
Is it majority is correct?
The information is not so distracting, I'm a bit surprised by your options.
Oh, okay, this is very interesting. Let's end the poll.
Share results. Let's take a
So
look,
many of you have chosen B and A. B and A.
No, question 1.
1 and 2. B is majority and A is majority, but not correct. The answer is actually B and
D.
B and
D.
D.
D. Yes. Denmark.
Yes. If you listen correctly, why did one of the speakers think that Miss Lee might be their form teacher next year? Okay, so A is wrong. The principal didn't say a thing. She did not discuss class dynamics. What is class dynamics? It is if I tell Teacher Mavis, Teacher Mavis, I just want to know, do you have a lot of potential student leaders in your class? Because I might need to borrow them, if I need someone to present a speech, I may need to borrow some of your students and have them hop over during my English class to demonstrate what strong reading skills are. That's what class dynamics is, right? Like the makeup of the class, the
makeup of the
students
class.
you have in class. No, she only said, the same folks next year. She only mentioned that. She didn't discuss the kind of students she had. Next. Miss Lee asked about subject combination. Okay, this is true, but what is this portion? You see, there's an N here. There's an N here. Did she indicate her concern? I don't think that happened.
No.
She showed interest in their subject combination. Her concern is what? Indicated her concern. No. Okay, next. Number 2 is very tricky. Many of you chose A.
Very distract. That one, that's a good distractor actually, because in the text it mentions Miss Lee always cares about us, but she caring about her students was not the only thing that was mentioned about why they think that she's very capable as an educator, not just a very nice person,
Yes. So you need to look at the question, her capability as an educator, because towards the end, both of them are looking forward to good news. The last speaker says, Miss Lee teaches mathematics with such clarity, and makes learning fun for us. And she also cares, which is good rapport. Both have been mentioned. I don't know about strong grasp of content. Teaching with clarity and teaching well is not necessarily with strong grasp of content.
Yeah.
Some teachers teach you the basics very well. It may not be very deep. Okay, but humorous, yes. There's no mention of, all of us would certainly do well under her care. Is she a motivating presence to help only those who wish to excel? I think in general, she cares for all students. So this makes C actually wrong. So all of you, please read. Wherever you have N, you make sure both must be mentioned. Okay?
Yeah.
Text 2. You will hear
Mr.
a
Shum,
conversation. Yes.
Before we play text, so just a reminder, right? Mr. Shum, could you scroll up, please? If you look at Mr. Shum's annotations, right, this is exactly what you should do actually before or while you're listening to the text. Because every sentence has a message, right? Every sentence is trying to tell you something. How do we know what a sentence is trying to tell us? We look at the adjectives, we look at adverbs. Adverbs can be very tricky, right? They just change an adverb, then it's a wrong answer already. So your adjectives, your adverbs, okay? These are words that can be tricky. So I hope you are doing this conscientiously and not just like looking at the question and then just holding everything in your short-term memory, okay? Or else it really defeats the purpose of this practice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Sham. Let's take a look at text
Yeah.
2.
Text 2. Text 2.
You will hear a conversation between two adults.
You look really unwell. Is your headache still bothering you from this morning?
Yes, it's actually getting worse. I think it's from staring at my computer screen for hours, working on my project.
You should have taken breaks earlier. First, drink some water. You're probably dehydrated from the air conditioning. Caffeine from your morning coffee can worsen headaches when you're dehydrated. Then, try massaging your temples in gentle circular motions and close your eyes for a few minutes away from these harsh fluorescent lights.
That makes sense. Should I take some painkillers or antihistamines as well, or stick with natural remedies first?
Start with hydration and massage for 30 minutes before taking any medication. Sometimes natural methods work better initially. If you do need medicine, choose only one type.
I often take several types of medicine. Seems to kill the pain fast.
No. Taking multiple medications can cause dangerous interactions, increase side effects, or overwork your liver and kidneys. Many people accidentally overdose by combining medicines that contain the same ingredients. My cousin is a doctor, and he has often advised his patients against taking several types of medicines. Instead, you should take regular breaks. Your health is more important than any assignment deadline.
Thank you so much. I was getting worried about finishing my assignment, but this headache was making it impossible to concentrate anyway.
It's still bothering you from this morning?
Yes, it's actually getting worse. I think it's from staring at my computer screen for hours, working on my project.
You should have taken breaks earlier. First, drink some water. You're probably dehydrated from the air conditioning. Caffeine from your morning coffee can worsen headaches when you're dehydrated. Then, try massaging your temples in gentle circular motions and close your eyes for a few minutes away from these harsh fluorescent lights.
That makes sense. Should I take some painkillers or antihistamines as well, or stick with natural remedies first?
Start with hydration and massage for 30 minutes before taking any medication. Sometimes natural methods work better initially. If you do need medicine, choose only one type.
I often take several types of medicine. Seems to kill the pain fast.
No. Taking multiple medications can cause dangerous interactions, increase side effects, or overwork your liver and kidneys. Many people accidentally overdose by combining medicines that contain the same ingredients. My cousin is a doctor, and he has often advised his patients against taking several types of medicines. Instead, you should take regular breaks. Your health is more important than any assignment deadline.
Thank you so much. I was getting worried about finishing my assignment, but this headache was making it impossible to concentrate anyway.
Okay. Did everyone get A and A?
Oh, we have no poll for this one, is it?
Oh, I forgot.
Mr. Shaw
Okay,
was so
did all of you
excited.
get A and A?
I think this one is quite straightforward. The options are
Yeah,
very
because air
much shorter in
conditioning
length.
is dehydration. It causes dehydration. Okay, and the thing is, this is mentioned. Okay, this is mentioned. Dehydration. It just makes the headache worse. Okay, sleep was not mentioned as a cause of headache. Okay, but air conditioning, dehydration, screen exposure. Next, where's the direct clue for this? The girl asks, should I take antihistamines and medication? He says, no, you should start by hydrating first. Start with hydration and massage for 30 minutes. This was the immediate response before considering medication. So the word is start. And then you have the word start, initial. Okay, now text 3, you will hear an expert discussing coffee cultivation. This one we will poll. Let's quickly get through this one about Q graders.
You will hear an expert discussing coffee cultivation.
Good morning. I am a certified Q grader. This is the professional term for a licensed coffee quality specialist. This means that I am a certified professional who evaluates coffee quality using the Specialty Coffee Association (SCA) standard scoring system. Today I'd like to share with you the finer points of growing and harvesting coffee. You see, when coffee is grown at higher elevations, typically above 4,000 feet, the beans develop more slowly due to cooler temperatures. This slower development allows more complex flavors to develop within the beans. Additionally, high-altitude beans tend to be denser because they grow in environments with less oxygen, which contributes to their superior taste profile. The stress of growing in these conditions actually produces better tasting coffee. While coffee connoisseurs are enthusiasts who appreciate fine coffee, Q graders like me need to undergo rigorous training and certification to professionally evaluate coffee quality, calibrate equipment, and identify specific taste characteristics. We follow strict protocols established by the Coffee Quality Institute to ensure consistent quality assessment worldwide. Good morning. I am a certified Q grader. This is the professional term for a licensed coffee quality specialist. This means that I am a certified professional who evaluates coffee quality using the Specialty Coffee Association (SCA) standard scoring system. Today I'd like to share with you the finer points of growing and harvesting coffee. You see, when coffee is grown at higher elevations, typically above 4,000 feet, the beans develop more slowly due to cooler temperatures. This slower development allows more complex flavors to develop within the beans. Additionally, high-altitude beans tend to be denser because they grow in environments with less oxygen, which contributes to their superior taste profile. The stress of growing in these conditions actually produces better-tasting coffee. While coffee connoisseurs are enthusiasts who appreciate fine coffee, Q graders like me need to undergo rigorous training and certification to professionally evaluate coffee quality, calibrate equipment, and identify specific taste characteristics. We follow strict protocols established by the Coffee Quality Institute to ensure consistent quality assessment worldwide.
Okay, Shweti, can we pull out the poll for 5 and 6? I hope everyone got this one correct. All of you input your answers. We will need about 10 minutes more, okay? So, but if you really need to go, you have to, and then you can leave the webinar. If not, it'll be good if you can stay for just the last segment. Very good. Very good. Okay, the answer is A and C. I accidentally was annotating when you were giving, when the reader was saying that coffee beans develop more slowly at higher elevation because of the cooler weather, cooler temperatures. Next, I give you a clue. She is saying that coffee connoisseurs are not the same, right? They are enthusiastic. But Q graders need to undergo rigorous training and certification. So A and C are correct. Okay, last segment. Last segment. Let's listen to the extract twice. Now this one, I think we can go a little faster because the topic is very accessible to you. What a teenager likes or dislikes about studying. Okay, we tried this. I played twice. And what you can do, have your answers typed out in the chat. The whole sequence of it.
You will hear 6 short recordings. In each recording, a teenager talks about their study habits. For questions 7 to 12, choose from the list, AG, what he or she prefers about studying. There is one extra letter which you do not need to use. Do not use any letter more than once. You will hear the extracts twice. Speaker 1.
I've found that revising in the library's designated study area enhances my concentration immensely. The setting is conducive, with fellow students absorbed in their academic pursuits. Although my peers occasionally study in proximity, we preserve the tranquility and acknowledge everyone's right to an undisturbed environment. It's the ambience that proves most beneficial.
Speaker 2.
Throughout the assessment period, I frequently work well into the early hours of the morning. My cognitive functions appear to peak during the stillness of midnight. I prepare a robust brew of coffee and distribute my academic materials across the kitchen counter while the household slumbers.
Speaker 3.
My tutor emphasizes that attempting to study with audio accompaniment significantly impairs cognitive function. Research indicates that the mind struggles to process multiple inputs simultaneously. Consequently, she's implemented a strict policy where studying must be conducted in an environment devoid of auditory interference.
Speaker 4.
Conceptual frameworks, grammatic organization, and graphical representations constitute the fundamental elements of my learning methodology. I employ a spectrum of hues for distinct disciplines, azure for mathematical concepts, emerald for scientific principles, and crimson for English. This systematic approach substantially improves my retention during assessments.
Speaker 5.
Several of my contemporaries merely peruse their academic materials repeatedly, but such methodology proves ineffective for me. One particular student highlights entire passages indiscriminately and reviews them incessantly. Their academic performance suggests this approach is suboptimal. I favor synthesizing information and engaging with practice assessments.
Speaker 6.
When presented with the option of solitary study versus collaborative learning environments, I invariably opt for the former. Individual academic pursuits facilitate superior focus and allow for personalized pacing. Furthermore, it proves more productive without external interruptions from colleagues.
I'll play it again.
AG. What he or she prefers about studying. There is one extra letter which you do not need to use. Do not use any letter more than once. You will hear the extracts twice. Speaker 1.
I've found that revising in the library's designated study area enhances my concentration immensely. The setting is conducive, with fellow students absorbed in their academic pursuits. Although my peers occasionally study in proximity, we preserve the tranquility and acknowledge everyone's right to an undisturbed environment. It's the ambience that proves most beneficial.
Speaker 2.
Throughout the assessment period, I frequently work well into the early hours of the morning. My cognitive functions appear to peak during the stillness of midnight. I prepare a robust brew of coffee and distribute my academic materials across the kitchen counter while the household slumbers.
Speaker 3.
My tutor emphasizes that attempting to study with audio accompaniment significantly impairs cognitive function. Research indicates that the mind struggles to process multiple inputs simultaneously. Consequently, she's implemented a strict policy where studying must be conducted in an environment devoid of auditory interference.
Speaker 4.
Conceptual frameworks, grammatic organization, and graphical representations constitute the fundamental elements of my learning methodology. I employ a spectrum of hues for distinct disciplines, azure for mathematical concepts, emerald for scientific principles, and crimson for English. This systematic approach substantially improves my retention during assessments.
Speaker 5.
Several of my contemporaries merely peruse their academic materials repeatedly, but such methodology proves ineffective for me. One particular student highlights entire passages indiscriminately and reviews them incessantly. Their academic performance suggests this approach is suboptimal. I favor synthesizing information and engaging with practice assessments.
Speaker 6.
When presented with the option of solitary study versus collaborative learning environments, I invariably opt for the former. Individual academic pursuits facilitate superior focus and allow for personalized pacing. Furthermore, it proves more productive without external interruptions from colleagues.
Okay, Mavis, how are they doing? Did they
Good.
get everything correct?
Let me see. Only one person. What about the rest of you? Give us your answers in sequence, okay? How do you do? In
Yeah.
sequence.
Some of them might say speaker 4. Speaker 4 doesn't sound like anything at all.
Yeah,
you
speaker
hear-
4 is the one with mistakes. Speaker 4 is the one with the mistakes. Not.
With the mistakes.
Speaker 4. Some students put E, some students put C for speaker 4. Some E, some C for speaker 4.
So the first one says designated study area with fellow students. We preserve the tranquility. So this person definitely likes quiet because there's the word tranquility that is mentioned here. Okay, so you have this, let me type it in. Tranquility. What's tranquility? It's the peace and quiet. Okay, so this person likes quiet places. So there, the word matches. The whole idea is that everyone realizes that they have to keep very quiet if they want to optimize that learning space. B, the person says, I work well into the early hours, and her concentration peaks during the stillness of the night. It's not just a matter of time. The whole idea is that quietness, nighttime. So here the answer is nocturnal. Anyone knows the opposite word of nocturnal? We are not meant to be, we are diurnal creatures. That means you're active in the day. But this person says, I am nocturnal by habit. Okay, she really thinks she does better when everyone else is asleep in the middle of the night. The later, the better. Next, speaker 3 says, studying must be conducted in a place devoid of auditory interference. Auditory. So it must be D here. No noise, please. Not even a squeak. Like some of you can't sleep with any light and with any sound. But some people need music and light, especially in hotels, to stay awake because you're scared of spooks and things jumping out. So C, if you heard this word and you saw the word crimson and spectrum of hues. Hues are colors. Colors are visual. Rainbow color she was covering. Azure, crimson. That means she needs to highlight her things. Then speaker 5 is totally opposite of speaker 4. She says there's some people who just highlight the entire paragraph. I just don't get it. It is inadequate, suboptimal. So some study methods are not very productive. And speaker 6, very easy. Provided you know the meaning of the word former. Okay, let me revise this, okay? Tom and Jerry are friends. Okay? I do Tom and Jerry are friends. The former is naughtier. So who is naughtier? Tom. Okay? The latter is rather shy. Okay, we're not talking about the same Tom and Jerry, right? So who is shy? Jerry. So have you found the answer? So sometimes you will hear the same words, but the thing is, if you don't know the use of these words, you see, I numbered Tom and Jerry. I mentioned Tom first, then I mentioned Jerry. So the former is solitary. What is solitary? That means you like to work alone. Okay, far away. So if people are studying at Junction 8 in Bishan, you go all the way maybe to somewhere in Hougang to go and focus at a cafe, a quiet cafe, far away from your school, without any interference of classmates and familiar people. So the answer, last one, is A. My son was actually next to me. Okay, that's why you see me turning my head. He messed up the first 2 MCQs and then later he got a bit scared. So 4 out of 6 he got for MCQs again. This one, what did he put? GBDCFA. He heard it once
correct.
and then he ran off already. Roblox.
GBDCFA, correct.
Any feedback? Any comments? How's everyone doing?
Let me see. I think they want to go and
Rest.
rest already.
Yes, it's been a hard week.
Our
Okay, so
weekend is
if there
here.
are no questions, we will have a third session next Thursday. There's still chances, 2 more hours to revise together. Okay, so for those of you who have joined us today, I'm really very grateful. Thanks for being here. And I hope you rest early tonight so that you can battle next week with more energy. Remember, sleep is quite important. If you have a headache, what must you do? Hydrate and massage your temples. Okay, something you learned today. Okay, any questions in the chat?
No, I don't see any. So thank you,
Yes.
Mr. Shum.
Thank
And thank
you.
you, Sir E, for supporting us. And thank you to all of you. Have a very good rest and have a good weekend, okay? See you next week on Thursday. What in the chat?
What in the chat?
What in the chat?
Did they
Mr.
put
Tobin
something?
or Miss Tobin Ling. What about in the chat? Okay. Okay. See all of you next week. Bye-bye. Good night.